The gaming industry has some really big problems, but when I heard about this kind of took the cake for me. And today I am going to talk about a topic that most people don't really talk about, and that is the workplace environments in gaming companies. The biggest companies in the world, like Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, Konami, all those other companies, and how bad those workplace conditions can be. And I want to speak out about it. I want to speak to my mind about it. So, let's get started. Now, I'm not a game developer. I'm not. And I know I might sound like I'm talking crazy, but hear me out, okay? So, developers are overworked. There's no question about it. Developers are overworked. And doing my research for this, developers are overworked. Over half of developers are overworked, considering that there are statistics to back that up. I'm not going to say the statistics, but doing my research, it's pretty big, and it's a pretty huge number. And what publishers are doing and how they rush games and stress out the developers like crazy. It's really sad, to say the least. And these developers work so hard for us gamers to make these games, because they are the ones who make the games. They are the ones who put in the hard work, the dedication, and the hours to make a great game for us, a good experience for all of us. And they are humans too. They are people too, because they have lives to go to. They have responsibilities to go to. They have families to go to even. And to see that research and to see what developers are going through is just really sad. And honestly, overworking your developers is terrible, and especially it applies to any sort of job. Overworking employees is not good in any regard. And honestly, it had to be said. Now, I said that game developers are overworked, and they are. And I'm looking at some statistics here, and it's from the GDC. And they surveyed about 3,000 game developers to come up with the results. And all of these developers said that, well, a small percentage of them said that 24% of them said that more than 66 hours per week they worked. And when you get to 9%, they worked more than 81 hours. I'm looking at those numbers. It is pretty scary, to say the least. And I know it's not a big percentage, but you get my point that most of these developers work more than like 60 hours a week. And it's so sad to see. And it's not that they want to work. Well, some of them do. They don't even know, but most of them don't even want to work that long. And some of them don't even know that they're working that long either. But besides the point, there are many developers that are pressured from the game companies to work more hours to get their game out because they want to release the game now, and they want to release the game half baked, and they want to release it quick. But when you let developers work for more than 60 hours a week, you can tell that's a problem. You can tell that's a really big problem. And it leads to burnout. I said that before, and I'm gonna keep saying that. Now, given all my previous points that I have said, these are just the start of it. And one of the things that kind of surprises me is that, looking at the research for this, many developers say that they are pressured by the game companies. One of the key things that they said when developers said that they feel burnt out is that they feel pressure from the game publishers, and it's true because the developers work so hard to make the game, and these game publishers want to have the game released and want to have the game as fast as they can so they can make money and they can release it to the public so they can have their own bit of profit. And it's fun and dandy, and I get it. The publishers, the game companies are a business and they need to make money. But when it comes to pressuring your developers to make a game and worrying them like crazy to the point where they need to rush to get these games out to the public, it's honestly very scary because, you know, they need to take a break. They need to recuperate. They need to recover from all the workload they have done, and giving them not a place to worry where they should be able to make the game calmly. It's pretty much what we need, and pressuring developers is not the way to go. Now, given all that I said up to this point, and what I've said about the long hours and the constant pressure and the overworking from their game publishers, it's no wonder why these game developers, develop health issues at some point in their career. And I'm talking serious. I'm not joking when I say this. It will happen at one point in their careers, and this is a real big problem. And considering there's a lot of things that can go wrong when game developers or anybody is not taken care of, and a lot of things can go wrong. And for game developers, put health first before anything else, because you don't know when one day anything will go wrong, and you don't know when is the you don't know when there's gonna be a time where health is bad enough and you have to be hospitalized. You don't want that to happen. You don't want that to happen. You really don't. And I'm not joking when I say this. It 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 does happen at one point. And health issues aside, a lot of these contribute. And the long hours, the overworking, I don't know how much I'm gonna say that, you know are gonna be due to that. And For developers to have health issues at such young states in their lives is a huge issue, because I think most of these developers are maybe around in their 20s or their 30s, considering that most of them probably don't have health issues, and probably most of them probably do, because due to what I'm just saying here. And this needs to be addressed, and this needs to be talked about more, and that's how I'm gonna address this. Case in point, we need to talk about this more. Now, when I think about this topic, I think it is really hard to talk about, and it is. It is a very hard topic to talk about, but I'm going to address this anyways, because, well, it is something that in the industry, and whether you like it or not, it's going to be there at one point. And that is discrimination in the workplace. And I'm not gonna lie, this is hard to digest, because honestly, haven't we learned from all this? Haven't we all learned from all this at all? Because, when did it become great? When did it become it's going on a norm to judge people? When did it become acceptable to judge people? When was that acceptable? When did it become acceptable? Of course not. It is not acceptable. And whether you're working in the video game industry or whether you're not, it's gonna happen at one point. And every day it's possibly gonna happen. We're changing that. Don't get me wrong, we're changing that, but it's not enough. And honestly, we could do better. And don't get me wrong, people are outspoken. People are always gonna say something, but this is not the way to go. And what we are doing right now is not good in any circumstance. And this